When you need auto parts, O'ReillyAuto.com is just a few clicks away. We offer convenient options for you to get your parts quickly. Order online and pick up for free at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store. We'll even bring it out curbside. Or you can have your parts delivered right to your door with free shipping on most orders over $35. Visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Well, it's come down to the final lap, and right now pizza is coming in on topping.
Just a lap to go. Salad had a healthy lead, and, oh no, Nachos has created a hot mess with that pile-up. Good thing paper towels are in the mix.
But wait, someone's emerged from the flames. It's burrito and grilled chicken. They're nub and neck.
And there's the checkered flag. Burrito wins it by a bean.
DoorDash. Get more to your door. The official partner of NASCAR.
Welcome to NASCAR Coast to Coast here on the Motor Racing Network. I'm Hannah Newhouse, joined each and every week by my co-host of Kyle Rickey. And Kyle, we got to spend the weekend together, technically speaking, up at the Stafford Motor Speedway. I made my way to Lebanon Valley to cover some big block racing, but before that, got to hang out at the Stafford Motor Speedway, saw the Roots, saw a pretty good 50-lap late model race, and of course, those... I know everyone says their favorite classes are usually the modifieds or something. I think mine's those street stocks because they race every single lap like it's $1 million on the line.
Yeah, Frank Latois Jr. Picking up the win in the street stocks, a 3-wide last lap pass, I think, for the win because the race leaders were adoring each other all the way down the front stretch of the white flag. And we get that every week. I was at the track earlier today, and I think we have had 8 or 9 last lap passes in the street stock field just alone this season. So, you saw a great night. Good SK modified race with Kopsick and Owen and Tyler Hines. And glad you were able to make it out. I was kind of jealous of your Saturday night as well, going with the big block modifieds at the Lebanon Valley Speedway. Yeah,
those big block modified drivers, man, unpredictable. Let's just put it that way in the short scheme of things. I did not know what any of them were going to say at any point when I stuck a microphone in their face, but just a reporter.
Part of the fun of it.
Whew, I don't know about that. It was interesting, but at the end of the day, super cool to see Lebanon Valley. It's one of those, historical tracks that doesn't matter what facet of racing you come from, you kind of just know about Lebanon Valley and its history. So cool to be able to add that one to my bucket list. But there was also some dirt racing that took place over the weekend for the second time for the ARCA Menard Series. They took to the DuQuoin Fairgrounds on Sunday for the Southern Illinois 100. Again, the second dirt race for them. They raced a couple weeks ago at the Springfield Mile. A new winner. And not only a new winner, but really a new name to the ARCA Menard Series. Landon Lewis, only 15 years old in his second start, Kyle. Leads every lap, qualifies on the pool. That's a pretty good statement to show up in the ARCA Menard Series with.
Yeah, driving for Rhett Jones Racing. He has a dirt experience coming from dirt modifieds. We'll hear more about that in a little bit, but heck, he held off Ty Gibbs in a 1-lap shootout, had that race on at the same time that Darlington was wrapping up. So it was kind of a late night for the ARCA kids, but it was a great race nevertheless. A lot of attrition. I think 16 or 18 cars started, 6 finished, some wrecks and a lot of mechanical issues along the way. Ken Schrader finishing in 3rd. Ryan Unziger in 4th, and Taylor Gray rounding out the top 5. And Corey Heim, 7th place, losing a bit of ground to Ty Gibbs, who finished in the 2nd spot. So the championship standing, the margin anyway, a little bit wider than what we have seen recently, 16 points going to Bristol next week.
Yeah, Unziker, a name that I've recently become familiar with in the world of dirt late model racing. Yep. Always cool to see, of course, in the ARCA series. Less in the national series now, but the ARCA series, when they get the opportunities to go to your mid-Ohios, go to your dirt miles, that you do see kind of people from their degrees of racing come and join the field. So cool to see them have good runs. We'll talk to Lewis here in just a little while about that win at DuQuoin. Just impressive, again, to be able to qualify on the pole, lead all of those laps. And if I'm on a last lap restart and I'm a rookie in the field and I see Ty Gibbs starting up next to me, I don't know how I mean, Kyle, I feel like we'd both be a little nervous just showing that Ty's shown he can win pretty much anywhere he goes. And to have that be your, competition is intense.
And I think in another lap, it was just a 1-lap shootout. If it would have been a 2-lap shootout, Landon might have had his hands full. because Ty ended up moving around Unzinger for that second spot. They got into it. It allowed Landon to break away. But I think another lap and Ty would have been right there. It would have been a pretty good finish. But Landon able to take the win, start number 2, and like you mentioned, led the entire night at the Coin.
Well, we'll dial up the Ocean Isle, North Carolina native here in just a little bit to talk more about that race. But of course, time for your iRacing update presented by Logitech G. The playoffs for the eNASCAR series, Coca-Cola iRacing series, they've begun. We've only got 3 more races left in the season. They're going to compete in the playoffs for the championship. There are 10 drivers competing. In the second round of the playoffs will be Tuesday, September 14th at the virtual Bristol Motor Speedway. So, of course, headlining the week before NASCAR goes there later on in the week. You can catch all of that action and the iRacing Countdown to Green at enascar.com/live at 8:30 p.m. The race starts at enascar.com at 9 p.m. on Tuesday, again, September 14th. Check out iRacing.com for all of the latest news, featured videos, and more information on the world of iRacing. This iRacing update is brought to you by Logitech G. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll have Landon Lewis dialed up.
Whelan Engineering, a global leader in the emergency warning industry, designs and manufactures reliable and powerful warning lights. Whelan also produces white illumination lighting, sirens, controllers, and high-powered warning systems for automotive, aviation, and mass notification industries worldwide. Every part of every Whelan product is proudly designed and manufactured in America and is tested on-site to meet the toughest industry certifications. Whelan Engineering, a global leader in the emergency warning industry, trusted to perform since 1952.
Gamers, start your engines. Meet the next generation of racing wheels. The award-winning Logitech G design is re-engineered to dial into your game physics, delivering unprecedented realism. Feel every shift, drift, and hairpin turn like never before. Our latest innovation in force feedback technology connects directly to endgame simulation engines and physics to produce higher fidelity, real-time responses. Through design, engineering, and the love of driving games, Logitech G takes racing simulation to another level. Go to logitechg.com.
Ruoff Mortgage wants to welcome you home with their fast and stress-free mortgage process. Ruoff knows that when you're ready to move, you want to keep things moving. From the moment you start, Ruoff makes sure the process moves quickly, often twice as fast as other lenders, so you can close quickly and settle in sooner. Visit ruoff.com to learn how you can qualify for the fastest loan of your life. That's Ruoff, RUOFF.com.
Sir, are you aware you were going 40 miles an hour? This is a residential area.
Sure, but I'm on my lawnmower? Wait, am I getting a ticket?
No, I've just never seen anyone top 9 miles an hour on one of those bad boys. And mow their entire lawn in 30 seconds? What got into you?
Well, it did fuel up at Sunoco this morning.
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. We've been doing it for American racing for over 50 years. Fuel your best.
Welcome back to NASCAR Coast to Coast here on the Motor Racing Network. We talked about the ARCA Menard Series running at the DuQuoin Fairgrounds over the weekend, and we're joined now by the winner, 15 years old, Landon Lewis. First off, Landon, thanks for taking some time here to chat with us on Coast to Coast.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Crazy to see, a new name, not only in your, second start, but just the season that ARCA's been having. What was the emotions to cross that checkered flag or cross the finish line, get that checkered flag in your second ARCA Menard Series start?
It was pretty cool just knowing that I've only raced these cars twice now, and it was awesome just because all the work that my guys put into that race and the race before, and it really was a dream come true because I told my guys that I wanted that one, and we ended up getting it, so it was pretty cool.
Bring me through the entire night. 16, 18 cars start the event. If you tuned in late and you saw that last lap shootout, there was just 6 cars left. Obviously, a lot of attrition, some incidents, a lot of mechanical issues. What was the key to just surviving that, what turned out to be a 104-lap event?
Yeah, me and my crew chief, Mark Rett, we talked before even practice started, and we said our goal is just to make it to the race and don't tear anything up. And through the race, the track was very just ruddy and very holy, I guess you could say. And our goal was just to keep the front end on it for the last laps. And I feel like we ran a really clean race and just made sure our front end was on by the end of the race. And then that last lap restart was I had a feeling it was going to come, but we ended up getting that last lap restart. And Mr. Ron Hornaday, he's taught me everything. And they come over the radio and they told me, just do what he's taught you. And I felt like I'd done that and ended up pulling off the win. So it was awesome finish.
Definitely easier to keep the front end on it when, of course, you qualify on the pole and lead every lap of that 104-lap race. You just mentioned it, Ron Hornaday. You had a pretty stout group of people kind of in your corner going into the race, including, Mark Rett, Austin Terrio, who's part of your career now. You mentioned Hornaday, Joe Ryan, who's, well-known in the world of legend car racing. Talk about your relationship with a lot of these guys, more so, of course, Hornaday, and how that's really helped you excel in your racing career.
Yeah, I met Mr. Ron Hornaday about 4 years ago, and ever since then, I've stayed at his house, and we've just kind of bonded together, and he's been behind me in everything I've done, and I'm very appreciative of that. Me and Austin Terrio, we've met in the last year and a half, and me and him are like best friends now. We go and lunch together. We even go to the house together, and we just me and my crew guys really bond. And me and Joe Ryan, I've known him for 4 years, and he's been behind me and there for me ever since I've started with him. Also, there's another one, Candace Hornaday, Ron Hornaday's daughter. She's been behind me at 110%. Made sure everything I get in is safe and make sure I am getting in the good equipment that I need to be in.
So you drive or drove for Ron in dirt modifieds, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. How did that relationship come to be with the Hornadays, just in general, even before your dirt modified days, and ultimately being able to drive for them?
Yeah, so, I started racing when I was 4 years old, and I raced go-karts from the time I was 4 years old to the time I was 12. And my dad felt like he was kind of holding me back a little bit, so he ended up calling Mrs. Candace, and she got me hooked up, and we went over there to the shop, and I met Ron, and, it was kind of a pinch me moment because I was standing in front of the NASCAR Hall of Famer, and I thought that was just so cool, and I've always wanted to meet him. And so ever since then, it's kind of took off, and we've bonded. Me and Billy Workman, his former driver, we just kind of went racing everywhere together and done everything together, went to family stuff together, and ever since then, we've just kind of been really close.
Definitely a cool and unique relationship, of course. Now the crossover into the ARCA Menard series. Only 2 starts, what was scheduled for you. You raced your first race at the Springfield Mile a couple weeks ago, 7th in your debut. Now this one, of course, 15 years of age too. Little restrictions there on what you're actually able to run within the ARCA Menard series. How did this all come about, the conversation with Rhett and actually getting behind the wheel of an ARCA car?
Yeah, so, I work with Joe Ryan Osborne during the summer. I come up every summer and just help him and go to the track and just learn. And we're down the road from Mark Rett, and I kind of end up meeting Mark Rett through Austin. He was really good friends with him, and he come over to the shop and end up meeting him. And ever since then, we've kind of really been close and started to bond together, like I said. And ever since then, we've just kind of been close. And I went over to his shop, and I saw all the ARCA cars, and I said, I want to do this. And we ended up getting talked together, Austin and Mark, and they started talking and funneling around a couple things and end up getting a deal together for Springfield. And that was a dream come true. Just going there and getting to do what I've always wanted to do and being racing against the Ty Gibbs, the Taylor Grays, the Corey Himes that have been dominating this year. And going against them was a challenge for me, and I just wanted to finish. And I felt like we'd done that, and then kind of got everything ready. And Mark said I'd done really good at the Springfield, so he said that he wanted to see if we can put something together for DeCoin and end up getting some sponsors and putting that together, and then the outcome like it is.
Pretty amazing outcome as well. It was fun to watch on Sunday night. I guess the big question now is what's next? 15 years old, you got your entire career in front of you. What's currently on the calendar, and where do you hope to be, come this fall and in 2022?
Yeah, there's hopefully a lot more deals opening up, coming up. My goal is to run a full-time ARCA schedule when I get the age that I can run every track. Going into 2022, I want to kind of run a lot more races that I'm allowed to, and just kind of get my feet more wet in that series and just learn the car more and learn the cars and learn my team more. And, I think we put something together, hopefully putting something together for another asphalt race coming up. So hopefully we can get one more start and close out the year strong.
And it's 18, right, that you have to be to run a full ARCA schedule?
Yes.
Wild to think, 15 years old, already got a win under your belt. And of course, looking ahead almost 3 years to be able to run that full schedule. Well, it's been fun to watch, Landon. Obviously, keep us in the loop with everything that goes on. And we look forward to hopefully, watching an announcement of some more asphalt racing. And congrats again on your win this past weekend.
Yeah, thank you so much for y'all having me on this. I most importantly like to thank 19th Green for making this possible. They helped me and just made the DeCoin race possible. The Jones family, Mark Rett, Terry Jones for all they've done for me. All my crew guys, Austin for everything he's done. Joe Ryan for being on the radio with me and just keeping me calm both races. And just everyone that's made this possible, my family and all my family back at home.
It's been fun to watch.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thanks, Landon. Again, guys, that is Landon Lewis, the winner this past weekend of the Southern Illinois 100 from the DeCoin Fairgrounds. We're going to take a quick break, though, and when we come back, we've got your Whelen Engineering Modified Driver Spotlight.
Whelen Engineering, a global leader in the emergency warning industry, designs and manufactures reliable and powerful warning lights. Whelen also produces white illumination lighting, sirens, controllers, and high-powered warning systems for automotive, aviation, and mass notification industries worldwide. Every part of every Whelen product is proudly designed and manufactured in America and is tested on site to meet the toughest industry certifications. Whelen Engineering, a global leader in the emergency warning industry, trusted to perform since 1952.
Sir, are you aware you were going 40 miles an hour? This is a residential area.
Sure, but I'm on my lawnmower? Wait, am I getting a ticket?
No, I've just never seen anyone top 9 miles an hour on one of those bad boys. And mow their entire lawn in 30 seconds? What got into you?
Well, it did fuel up at Sunoco this morning.
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. We've been doing it for American racing for over 50 years. Fuel your best.
Want to experience racing in its purest form? Do you yearn to return to where NASCAR came from? Watch high-banked, full-throttle super late model racing on Flow Racing, September 8th through the 11th. It's the crown jewel of dirt late models at Eldora Speedway with the World 100. This is grassroots racing at its finest. See who will win the Globe by subscribing today. Go to flowracing.com/world. That's flowracing.com/world.
While we all remember Denny Hamlin's epic playoff win at Talladega last season, for one man, the excitement didn't end with the checkered flag. No, for Charles McGuy, that checkered flag inspired him to become Checkered Chuck. Now everything in his life is checkered. His new Tundra, his lawn, even his body hair. If you can name it, Chuck has checkered it. That's how it all began for Chuck. This playoff season, share your hashtag Toyota fan stories on Twitter. Toyota, let's go places.
NASCAR is a registered trademark of the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, LLC.
Time now for another Whelen Engineering Modified Tour Driver Spotlight. And today we are set to spotlight 20-year-old Acton, Massachusetts driver Matt Swanson, the driver of Old Blue, the longest-running NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour team dating back to the 1950s. Matt, first off, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on, Kyle.
Before we talk about your modified career, which you've come a long way and in a relatively short amount of time, let's go back to before you discovered the modified, and how did you get into motorsports growing up?
It all started with my father. He used to run the Busch North Series. Back when that was really popular, he drove the number 25 New England Pontiac dealer's car for his own team. And then from there he owned cars for Gigi Gravel, people like that with the Pro All-Star Series. And when I got a little older, he asked me if I wanted to go racing. So we started with quarter midgets and then moved on to micro sprints and quickly jumped right into the tour type modifieds.
So you mentioned Busch North and some of the other full fender divisions up here in New England. So why the route to the open wheel modifieds?
Modifieds just always had a special place in my heart. I always used to go to Thompson on Thursday nights to watch their SK modified division. I always went to the NASCAR wheel modified tour races. Modifieds were always just that car I wanted to drive. I've gotten experience in full fendered cars, but there's nothing like driving a 600 horsepower modified. So, really thankful that I got an opportunity with Old Blue to be able to drive these cars and, just having fun doing it.
Before Old Blue, though, you broke in with a family team. You were, I believe, 15 years old when you started on the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour. What was that first year like, being so young and trying to break into a very ultra-competitive series with a family operation?
It was it wasn't easy, to say the least. But luckily enough, I had great people backing me. My family believed in me, and, gave me what I needed to be able to do what we did with the family operation. We had Ken Barry from Spaffco Race Cars, crew chief in the car. He taught me a boatload, in the 3 years we had the family operation going. But, it all came back to my family believing in me and, giving me all the pieces to the puzzle to be able to do what we did. And, that led us to where we are now with Old Blue. And, we're going to keep trying to get that first win. Hopefully it comes this year.
How did that partnership come together between yourself and the Bowler family, a family that, like we mentioned earlier, has been in modified racing since the late 1950s?
So it all started, it was a Stafford Friday night. We were there for the Stare at 150. Actually, the banner's right behind me. We were there for that race. I had my family number 89 there, and we unfortunately lost a motor the last lap of the last round of practice. And, we were kind of running around crazy trying to figure something out to see if maybe I could get in a car. And Rowan Pennick, who had previously been the driver of Old Blue, his girlfriend was pregnant and the baby was on the way. They didn't know about when the baby was coming, so they were like, Matt, come in the infield with your gear on, and if we get the call, we're going to, kind of cause our own yellow here, and you're going to be getting in this car. Well, we kind of took it as just a joke or whatever and kind of went on with our night, enjoyed it with our partners from Starrett. And then a couple days later, we went to Thompson Speedway for the Budweiser King of Beers 150 at Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park. And it was actually the night before. I was just closing the door to the trailer after swapping a motor, pretty much rebuilding my own car between myself, my father, and, some help from my brothers and stuff like that. And my dad actually called me and said, hey, the BRE guys just called. Rowan's baby's on the way. You're in the 3-car tomorrow. And I didn't know whether to be, mad because I just put all this work into my own car to get it ready for this race, or excited because holy crap, I'm getting to drive Old Blue tomorrow. So, we just went into that race like I always do, going there to chase the checkered flag and win the race. And unfortunately, we came up one spot short to that year's champion, Justin Bonsignor. But, it was definitely a ride. So thankfully that evolved into what we got going on today with myself and the Bowler family, and excited to continue that on.
Give me one fun fact that you've learned about the Bowler Racing team, if there is one. I mean, it's such a legendary team. I was able to go to the garage, the original garage, just a couple of months ago at the start of the off season, and see where the history has been made, all the legendary drivers. What stands out for you driving this race car?
There's so many things, but if I had to pinpoint one, it's just, how much work those guys put into those race cars, because they, like you saw, Kyle, that everything is done in that shop. The chassis are built in that shop, upper control arms, lower control arms. The list goes on and on. It's pretty much the only things we don't buy are the engines, the seats, and the shocks. Other than that, barring a couple odds and ends, it's all built in that building. And it's not anything special by any means. It's a 2-car garage that they expanded over the years. So if I had to pick one fun fact, it would definitely be that everything, as much as we can, is built in that shop.
A 6-time national championship team looking for number 7 with you. When you're away from the racetrack, when you're away from the race car, we were talking before we started the interview here of all the fun things that you get to do when you're not playing with race cars. What's life like for you when you're not dealing with Old Blue?
So pretty much my weeks kind of bounce between working at my family's car dealership in Acton, Massachusetts, Swanson Buick GMC. And then typically in my afternoons, I go down, work on Old Blue, with my crew chief, Greg, and John McKenna and Scott Richards. During the winter, I have a very fun activity of snow plowing that I get to partake in. It keeps me out of trouble, I guess I could say. It takes up a lot of time, but, it keeps me busy and, keeps my work ethic up. So, I guess that's a good thing, but, basically my two main things are working for my family and, working on Old Blue.
Always good to stay busy. Matt, as always, thanks for taking the time to join us here on this week's Whelen Engineering Modified Tour Driver Spotlight.
Thanks for having me on.
Well, it's come down to the final lap, and right now pizza is coming in on top of it.
Just a lap to go. Salad had a healthy lead, and, oh no, Nachos has created a hot mess with that pileup. Good thing paper towels are in the mix.
But wait, someone's emerged from the flames. It's Burrito and Grilled Chicken. They're nub and neck.
And there's the checkered flag. Burrito wins it by a beam.
DoorDash. Get more to your door. The official partner of NASCAR.
This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Football is back, and the best bet you can make is downloading the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It doesn't matter if you're new to gambling or an old pro, FanDuel has something for everyone. And as an official sports betting partner of the NFL, you know your bets are safe. There's also never been a better time to use FanDuel, because right now, you'll get up to $1,000 back if your first bet doesn't win. You can even turn a small wager into a big payday with a same-game parlay bet. Just sign up with the promo code Spotify to place your first bet risk-free on FanDuel Sportsbook. Download FanDuel today. 21 plus and present in Virginia. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Gamers, start your engines. Meet the next generation of racing wheels. The award-winning Logitech G design is re-engineered to dial into your game physics, delivering unprecedented realism. Feel every shift, drift, and hairpin turn like never before. Our latest innovation in force feedback technology connects directly to endgame simulation engines and physics to produce higher fidelity, real-time responses. Through design, engineering, and the love of driving games, Logitech G takes racing simulation to another level. Go to logitechg.com.
Whelen Engineering, a global leader in the emergency warning industry, designs and manufactures reliable and powerful warning lights. Whelen also produces white illumination lighting, sirens, controllers, and high-powered warning systems for automotive, aviation, and mass notification industries worldwide. Every part of every Whelen product is proudly designed and manufactured in America and is tested on-site to meet the toughest industry certifications. Whelen Engineering, a global leader in the emergency warning industry, trusted to perform since 1952.
Citywide to countryside, whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules has the value, selection, and industry-leading warranty to get you there no matter where the road takes you. Go to HerculesTires.com. There you can find the nearest authorized Hercules retail location to you. Plus, you can use the tire tracker to find out which Hercules tire fits your vehicle the best. That's HerculesTires.com. Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
Welcome back to NASCAR Coast to Coast. Over the weekend, the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour took to Oswego for the Toyota Mod Classic. Ron Silk doubled down 2 in a row now for the tour, collecting the win over Hirschman, Justin Bonsignor, Doug Coby, and Anthony Nacella. Golden Sands was also in action for the Super Late Model Tundra Series with a 75-lapper. It was Jordan Devoy over Mike Litchfield and Justin Mondeek. And then the Atomic 125 was at Hermiston for the Northwest Super Late Model Series. Jason Jefferson, somewhat coming out of retirement, of course, a name that you recognize with Jefferson Pitts in the K&N cars. And of course, if you're just familiar with late model racing in the Northwest, the Jefferson brothers, definitely prestigious up there. Jason collected the win over Hayden Plybon and Corey Allred. And the NASCAR Advanced Auto Part Weekly Series.
There we go.
It's only taken me a year. It's fine. Of course, the points we've continued to talk about it are starting to wrap down. We talked to Peyton Sellers a couple weeks ago and had well over 100 points on second place. Well, that gap now down to 52 points. Jacob Gady is in second, Peyton Sellers with 596 points. Todd Patnode has 92 points behind Sellers, then Eric Reed and Billy Mon over 100 points. So that is starting to wind down, Kyle. And it looks like Gady's closing this gap extremely quick. He has almost 10 starts, though, on Peyton Sellers. I mean, he's like 41, and I think Peyton Sellers is 32 or something.
I don't know if there's enough time left to close 52 points. We saw how we've been able to watch how long it's taken him to close the 50 points that he's been able to in the last, 6 or 7 weeks. So we'll see. You never know. That's why we do this week in and week out. You mentioned Todd Patnode having a good run in the top 5. He picked up the win over the weekend at the Monadnock Speedway up in New Hampshire, was able to gain some more points there. Wayne Hale picked up the late model win at the Kingsport Speedway. They have their championship night there in Tennessee this coming Friday. The NASCAR Canadian or NASCAR Pinty Series raced at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park this past weekend. LP Dumoulin taking down the race win over Marc-Antoine Cameron, Trayton Lapsevich, Alex Tagliani, and Gary Clute rounding out the top 5 there. LP Dumoulin has a 3-point lead over Tags as they race this Sunday at Flamborough Speedway. 5 events to go. We're beginning to wind down. You mentioned the modified race at Oswego. Matt Hirschman, not sure if you watched it. I don't think you did because you were doing dirt modified racing when they were running at Oswego. But Matt Hirschman started or restarted mid-pack at the back. Watching him charge to the front and close in on Ron Selk in the closing laps was fun to watch, but had to settle for second. Modifieds back on MRN this week, Hannah, on Friday night.
Matt Hirschman, I know he obviously gets a lot of the attention because of his wins, and rightfully so, but I truly think is one of the most underrated drivers that we have out there at the moment. Like, I personally believe he is a Josh Berry equivalent of the modified scene in the sense that he deserves a shot. He's proven it. Maybe his interviews, he's one of those guys that
he's just like his dad.
Yeah. Not necessarily a conversationalist, which is totally fine because you don't have to be a conversationalist to drive a race car. But definitely, I would say somewhat of a hidden talent in the grand scheme of things because he definitely is a extremely talented driver. You mentioned it, though. They're back in action at Richmond Friday, 7 p.m. You can tune in on MRN and, of course, NBC's Track Pass. Also, the ARCA West Series, they are headed to Portland International for the Portland 112 on Saturday. They are sharing the paddock with IndyCar and all of their support series over the weekend, so kind of a cool double header. Kyle, where will you be headed this weekend? Another night at Stafford?
Another night at Stafford on Saturday. We have the TC13 in honor and memory of Ted Christopher. And then I don't know what the weekend will bring on Saturday. Maybe head over to Lebanon Valley. Although I think last week was our last regular show that you attended. So yeah, slim pickings up here this time of year. Seekonk Speedway, I think, has their championship night. So we may head over there.
Well, a lot of big races also happening around the southern area, of course, with championship night. So the opportunities to support your local short tracks are winding down. So if you're able to do so, please get out, support those drivers, and support those tracks. We want to thank Landon Lewis, of course, for coming on here and hanging out with us, talking about his win. We will have more to cover next week. I'm Hannah Newhouse for Kyle Rickey and producer Craig Moore. We will see you guys next week here on MRN's NASCAR Coast to Coast.
Buying a house can feel like you're going 200 miles per hour in bumper-to-bumper traffic with a dirty windshield and the sun in your eyes. Ruoff Mortgage has the technology, expert staff, and resources to simplify the process while speeding up the time it takes to get clear to close. So while getting a loan can seem intimidating, Ruoff Mortgage will have you opening the door to your new home fast and stress-free. Visit Ruoff.com to learn more. That's Ruoff.com.